Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Pro Hire Truck TV, and today we're out and about as always. Sun's glorious today. I was given a weather forecast, but certainly it's a much better and more clement experience when it's not pouring down. Now we're up in South Yorkshire actually at the moment, in Doncaster, and we're with the guys at Maxus at Northside Commercials, and we've come to look today at vehicles that are again transforming into a new generation, and this is the Maxus eDeliver 9. And you know, we've looked at this before, and going back some time ago we did some extensive work on this when this vehicle first came out. What I want to try and do over the next few minutes is look how it's actually transformed into something that it currently is. So there's been a lot of changes within the product, and this one is temperature controlled. Now we're working on a couple of vehicles which we'll be able to show you in the next few weeks, which are chassis cabs, N2, 4-ton with boxes on for dual temperature. But this is a single temperature fridge, and why don't we have a proper look at this? Oh, look. Right, so we're back in the cockpit of the newest model eDeliver 9 and from Maxus, and I have to say, and I've said it before, it's a really well laid out van, and it's right up there with anything that I've seen and driven, not just from electric but definitely from a diesel perspective as well. So it's a really great looking van. This is a 72 kilowatt model, which is the middle of the ranges for Maxus, but certainly right up there when it comes to a 3.5 ton panel van, and it's at the higher end of everybody else's. And when you look at some of the other models out there, they're actually nowhere near the capacity of the battery packs on these vehicles. So that's a first good one for me. We're in this vehicle, and it's a temperature control vehicle. So we've got a GEH fridge unit, which I'm a big fan of, and it's fully electric. So it plugs into the bodybuilder's plug straight into the 12 volt battery, and provides power from the powertrain, so you're removing power from the powertrain. Unlike some of these other manufacturers you saw one recently we did in our video, which actually had an extra set of batteries and more leads to plug in and all of those things, when actually the function of trying to make commercial vehicles work is thinking about the driver, and it's plug and play. So thinking about this driver, I want to plug and play. So if we push the button, I've managed to turn it off, push the button, now we turn it on, and it's full of sparkles, full of big lights, and I think we're good to go. But let's have a look at the fridge, and what we should be able to do with that at this point is turn that on as well. So what we have here is fridge unit, and you know, that's set to go, and we should be all right. And this is a chiller unit, so this is capable of doing +4 in a van of this size on multi-drop. Now we'll take a look at that when we park up. So let's see how we put this into gear, and let's take this on a journey. And look, it's just as simple as that. It's fully automatic as you'd expect, but straight into it. No nonsense, no messing. You know, I love this van. I think it's a great job. WLTP on this van, around about 150, 160 miles. When you see it fully charged, you know, people get super stressed because it actually shows fully charged around 135. But I've driven these for quite some time, and we've got quite a number on fleet now, and driven well, you should exceed 150. And if you see one of the videos we did going back about 18 months ago with this product, we managed to do over a two-day operation around Manchester, north of England, around 170 miles, with about half a ton of payload, but around 170 miles. And that was staying away from motorways, which of course eats the power on these electric vehicles, around urban delivery and that kind of thing. And I think this is ideally set up for that operation. So we've taken the van out for a run, and you know, we've been out for a couple of hours or so, and on the flip side, you know, it says 135 miles on the clock. We've done about 20 miles now, around country roads, etc, and we've got to get back yet, but we've only used about 7 or 8 miles of electric, which again is testament to the quality of the product. Now the batteries on this are manufactured by CATL. CATL, Chinese, they're one of the largest automotive battery manufacturers in the world, and they're spreading their net across a number of models. But certainly in this perspective, they're doing a great job. This van, it's got AC and DC charging, which I think I mentioned, but of course some Type 2 to high-speed DC charging. And of course, on a DC perspective, 50 kilowatt, this will give you an 80% charge in 40 minutes, and I think in most cases I think that's going to be pretty impressive. The fridge is working away in the background, even though the actual vehicle is off, which again is really useful. This is a Lux model, so don't get too excited. They don't come with this as standard, but you know, a really nice touch, and not that expensive, and certainly worth having. Refrigeration is working away, and it's really cool in there, so it is pulling temperature really well. And of course, it's much harder to pull temperature on a brand new van because the bodywork is still warm. And it's interesting. Now, the bodywork on this has been produced by Coolfreeze, who are based in Manchester, and they do a great job. This is a medium wheelbase van. I say payload of about 750 kilos, which, if you look at some of the other products we spoke about, and one recently on our video, we've got a fridge on there which is the same size, which has got a payload of about 450 kilos with a fridge. So again, impressive. I think just reopen this slightly, but I think again, if you look at the line out capacity, or what we need to do, this is a line out which is ply lined. There are some line outs now that don't have plywood in, which I think we could gain some benefit on payload, but again, that's down to the choice of the individuals. And of course, you know, not really going to be any detriment to the quality of the line out. It's just about how we manage in weight. When we look at these things, we like to have a look in the bonnets, and of course when we look at the electric cars, we open the bonnet and expect to find somewhere to put a charging cable. Of course, it's slightly different with a van, and under here for many years you'd pop the bonnet and you'd find a diesel engine. Of course, with this it's very different. Let's have a look under here and just see what it is we're going to find. So again, super impressive, nothing to really touch. Your 12 volt battery, which all your power comes from for your fridges. Make sure you've got brake fluid, and of course your washer bottle. And that's where your driver ends. You know, the days have gone where you've got to check oils and waters and all of these good things. It's all done for you. And of course, with modern integrated vehicles, and especially vehicles provided on contract hire by ProGreen, they're fully integrated into our own hub. So all the conversations around everything you do are had for you by our telematics device. So really good. So that's all there is to look at, I'm afraid. Nothing exciting at all. Just everything you need and nothing you don't. So of course we said this is a refrigerated vehicle, and I suppose it's incumbent upon us to mention the fridge. Of course you would, and why wouldn't you? In fairness, this is a GEH, a fully electric fridge, and it's very exciting in as much as you can plug and play. So it plugs straight into the vehicle, into the traction batteries via the builder's plug, and runs off your 12 volt supply. I have to say, it's state of the art, it's really quiet, it's really quick, and it's really clever, just like the van. But of course, overnight standby, as it used to be called in the olden days, you know, it's a support mechanism for your fridge, and you can plug that in as you would normally do in times of rest or holding the temperature load over the evening or during the day, whenever it is that you want to support it. Fully separate from the traction and the plugging point from the front. So again, one of the things to be careful of when taking a vehicle like this is when you are putting plugging points in on refrigeration, ensure we've got some proper 240 volt supply as well as your AC or DC supply for charging the vehicle. But again, operates as you would normally would. And what we try to do, and what people are trying to, and one of the exciting things about this product over and above any others that I've worked with at the moment, is you can use it as a normal vehicle. So the driver hasn't got to think about all the other things or an extra thing on top of everything else that they've got to do in a world which is becoming increasingly more legislative and more difficult to navigate through. The conversation about electric is getting fairly frenetic about, are we going to have enough electric? Is there going to be the ability to charge all of these vehicles in at the same time. And if we take a look behind us, we've got an interesting backdrop out here, where we're seeing, for the first time in a long time, all of these windmills going hell for leather. And one of the interesting things for me is when you start looking at how much power is being produced by wind renewable in the UK, it's growing exponentially. And that's brilliant, because we're going to need the power to power up these amazing electric vehicles, which are going to be the stalwarts of urban delivery as we move through this decade into the heady heights of 2030, when this type of vehicle will be the thing that you see every day on every road that you're currently delivering them. Now, of course, we talk about mileage in these vehicles a lot, and I said before when we were talking that on the very early vehicles I had and was working with this, and it was a dry freight vehicle, of course, not a fridge, over a 2-day period in Manchester, we did about 170 miles, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. And it was more for me, could I do 2 8-hour days in that vehicle? And it was, in fairness, over 2 days as opposed to 2 8-hour days on a charge, as opposed to flying up and down the motorway. These vehicles are not designed for that. They're urban delivery vehicles, and the faster you go on the motorway, the harder these vehicles get punished. But round town, with regen, stop, start, this is a super bit of kit. It really is a nice vehicle. And I guess the challenge with all of these things, when you're trying to look at a video and all of those other good bits and pieces, you get 5 or 6, 8 minutes to talk about the benefits or negatives, pros and cons of an electric vehicle. And of course, for those who have watched us for quite some time, and I thank you for that, and please, as always, please subscribe if you can, and like, obviously, if you can. ProHire and ProGreen are part of the same group, and of course we're a contract hire business. These vehicles are available through our ProHire business and ProGreen on this side for the EV piece. Available now. We have vehicles in build at the moment in this space. I think I touched on before, we've got a number of dual temp N2 4-ton chassis available, and we also organise the training for the licenses that you need to do that. Of course, all of our details are available on our website, and of course through our ProGreen pages, ProLife, ProWorld pages. Everything we talk about and everything that we touch on is available for you to talk to us about. All the conversations we have on EV, charging, sustainability are available as part of our ProGreen transition from ICE to alternative fuels, and of course there's absolutely no cost at all to talk. I think for those who know me well, it's one of my foibles. I love talking about this, and I'm happy to talk about it at length, as well as our team is. So I hope you've enjoyed our small interlude into sunny Doncaster, the backdrop of the wind charging and turbines, and of course the fantastic eDeliver 9 Maxus with refrigeration from our friends at Northside Maxus, and it's been a great pleasure for me to go out and have a look and keep touching and keep walking through the journey on the EV space when it comes to light van. Next week we've got a super piece of equipment, and I'm really excited to try and take that out for a run. But you have to keep watching to see what that is. Thanks guys, take care.